What is up, guys? And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 woodworking projects anybody can make. Let's get started. Start by getting any piece of wood. Now we're going to trace out the outline. There we go. Now we'll go cut this out on a bandsaw or jigsaw. Before sanding it on a belt sander, let's make a pit stop at the drill press and drill a 7/8 inch hole. Now, you probably already know what I'm going for, but if you don't, just keep watching the video. Alright, now you'll come to your belt sander and finish it up. You're going to want to make sure this gets as smooth as possible because you don't want any splinters getting to your hand. And now we'll sand by hand with 1/23. Now, before we add the firing mechanism on, we're going to give it a little bit more character by blowtorching it. This has to be one of the most gratifying parts. For your final step, you're gonna get a clothespin, and then you're gonna glue it to that flat part you made earlier. Let that set to dry. And there you have it. We just made a rubber band gun, and the last time I went to a vendor sale, I sold 8 of these. From that piece of plywood we made this out of, you could probably make 3 more out of it too. So you just turned a $2 board into $60. So basically what you do to cock one of these things is, of course, get a rubber band and then put it on the tip right here, pull it back, and then put it in the clothespin. I'm not gonna do it right now because it's still drying. But this isn't the end of the video. Now, perhaps you're gifting something to an older person. Let me show you another project. You'll start by cutting 4 3-inch pieces. Now cut another piece 5.5 inches. Since the board is 5.5 inches wide, that means this will make a square. And then finally, for your last piece, you'll cut a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch piece. Now we got all the pieces cut out. I'm going to be pre-drilling all of our holes because cedar is such a soft wood and I don't want to risk splitting any of it. I only have one battery to work with, so I have to switch it in between each drill. Now we're going to be using these little 1-inch screws. Now finally for the top. We'll use our square that's not a square to make sure everything's lined up. And I didn't already pre-drill these holes because I didn't really know where these holes were gonna be. I'm not that great at making boxes, but this one turned out okay. Now it's time to give her a massage. And there we go, we have all of it assembled. Now we're gonna get a 1.5 inch drill bit and drill straight into the bottom. Switch that 1 inch drill bit out for a 3/8 inch drill bit. Take that drill bit and go to about the half mark and then drill up. The final step is to get a mason jar with a screwable lid on, and then you're gonna take that lid and put it right on top and then nail it to it. All right, let's dig in this big pile of nails and try to find 2 matching ones. Ah, yes. This part is a little bit tricky because you don't want to hit the rim right here and bend it. This is one of the trickiest part about this build. There we go, we got the first one in. And there we go, we have just finished. Now you can take your mason jar and you should be able to screw it on top. There we go. Well, there you go, guys. I just showed you how to make an easy carpenter bee trap. And the theory behind these things is so those bees will go up through those holes up here, and then they try to go out, and they see light down here, so they go down here, and then they're just so dumb they just can't get out through the top. So you just have a whole pile of bees right here, and then when you're done, you can unscrew it, dump them out, and then go for another batch. About 1 year ago, I took 10 of these to a vendor sale, and I almost sold out of them, and I charged $15 for one of these things. First, you're gonna need a piece of wood. This is a 2x4, but you can use a 1x4, 2x6, 1x6, pretty much any type of wood. All right, well, this project is very, very simple. You can probably make it with hand tools, but I'm gonna be using a miter saw to make it go a little bit faster. Set your miter saw to about 30 degrees. And all you pretty much do is just make cuts, flipping it over each time so you make triangles, and it's pretty much as simple as that. I could get one more out of this piece, but it will get really close to my fingers. And all right, just from that one board, we got 6 pieces. Now let's go ahead and sand them. You can use a belt sander for this part or an orbital sander, but I'm just gonna sand it by hand just to make it simple. We're using 80 grit. One down, 5 more to go. I just wanted to jump in here and let y'all know that 97% of y'all are not subscribed. Why not? It's free. And when you do, hit that notification bell so you'll never miss a future upload. Let's get back to the build. All right, now it's time to either put stain on the top or burn it. I'm gonna burn it because it looks a little bit more rustic to me when you do that. All right, so I moved them all down to the floor, and make sure you clear away your dust so it doesn't catch on fire. All right, guys, well, there we go. Look at those little tiny mountains. And if you look at the screenshot right here, you can see that they're selling for $5 a piece, $30 for just 10 minutes of work and using up your scrap wood. For your first step, of course, you need to get your fence picket. There we go. Now you can get one of these fence pickets for pretty much any local hardware store. They run about $4 a piece, and that's a really good deal. For our first piece, we're gonna pull up 10 inches, and then we're gonna cut 2 more pieces at 10 inches.
We're gonna slap on some PPE
and get cutting. For your next step, you're gonna cut 2 pieces at 6 1/4 inches. And surprisingly, that is all the pieces you need to cut out. So you can save this last piece and use it for later. Clear away a little bit of this dust right here. There we go. Gotta remove that tag right there. And we'll get a little chisel and pop that staple out. Grab yourself a 1/16 inch drill bit and start drilling your holes for your screws. Just to make these screws a little bit less visible, I'm going to use this bit right here and sink these screws. Y'all probably all know that these are my favorite screws to use. Take one of your 10-inch pieces and then take your other 2 and put them on the side right here. Now we'll screw those together as best as possible. Now you'll take your 6 1/4 pieces and lay them right on top. Time for the other side. There we go. Now, since I want to leave it a little bit rustic, I'm going to sand it by hand just to knock the loose hairs off of it. Well, there you go. So if you want to add a little bit of color to it, you can either torch it or stain it, but I like how it is, so that's how I'm going to leave it. You have just made a centerpiece for your table, and it perfectly fits 2 mason jars. Now, you can make this as long as you want. I've seen where they make it like 6 mason jars long. but I just made it 2 mason jars long because there's not enough wood in one fence picket to make one that fits 3 mason jars. Now, if you look at the screenshot right here, you can see it sells for $50 and is in 5 people's carts. Now, that's what I'd call a big profit. This is probably only about $3 worth of wood, and we didn't even use all of the fence picket. Now, if I were to go out there and sell it, I would probably sell it for maybe $15 to $20, and by selling it at that price, it's a pretty good profit anyway. So you can use this for pretty much anything. If you want to just take these mason jars out and put things inside of it, that's perfectly fine. And if you want to just keep the mason jars in and put flowers in it, that's fine too. I'm gonna have to cut this thing in half because it's too big to even fit on my workbench. All right, we cut the tip off, so now we're gonna grab our square that's not a square, and we're gonna mark center. All right, these boards are obviously 5.5 inches long, so that is gonna come out to 2 3/4. All right, now we're gonna adjust our miter to 45 degrees. All right, so what we're gonna be doing is cutting off the corner right here, and we'll do it on both sides, but you're gonna make sure where your blade hits is the front of the mark. So pretty much you're just making a point. We'll flip it over and do the same thing. All right, there you go, you just made a point. Adjust your miter back to 0, and then we're just gonna cut down 8 inches from the point. All right, now we gotta make one more. If you're enjoying the content so far, go down below and smash that like button. And while you're down there, go and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss a future upload. Let's get back to the video. This knot was not meant to be there. Cut 2 more pieces at 8 inches. For your last piece, cut one at 7 inches. All right, we're gonna need to do some modifying to some of these pieces. So these 2 pointed pieces are good, so we're gonna put those aside, and the 6-inch piece, and then these 2 8-inch pieces. But the 7-inch piece, we're gonna have to rip it straight down the side. Now, you could use a table saw, but I don't really have one on hand and I don't really like using them. So I'm gonna run it on the bandsaw, and if you don't have a bandsaw, you can probably use a chisel and just like chisel it straight in half and then use a belt sander to clean it up. All right, instead of making a guide, I'm just gonna draw a line straight down the middle and then freehand it. All right, sweet. All right, that worked pretty well. Now it's time for assembly. All right, to start, we're gonna put on our bottom panel. So I'm gonna use a hammer and nails. All right, I actually just found a screwdriver, so we're gonna use this. All right, we got a 1/16 inch bit. This is so much easier. Now we'll turn her on our side and then get our 2 pieces we split in half and put them right there. And I actually cut them down one more time to make them a little bit smaller. And now we'll do the other side. Then we'll take our last 2 8-inch pieces and put them on the top. And there we go. And now we'll just give it a little bit of massage with some 120 grit. Well, there you go. You just made an easy bird feeder. So now I'm gonna go set it out and see if any birds get to it. All right, so we got some bird seed right here. So all you do is just set it right here in the middle. And so I'm gonna go and dump some in there. I forgot to make a way to hang it up. So I'm just gonna get like a 5/8 inch drill bit and drill right on the top to make like a little loop. Now we'll get some rope and hang it up. If you like this video, I think you might like some of my others. So I have a whole woodworking playlist that I'll put right here. It has over 40 videos on. And if you want to subscribe, I will put that right here. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see y'all next time.